for Jax to even win in that 1v1 scenario unless someone comes in to help Jax out, because we all know for the matter of fact that Garen is very annoying to deal with, the enhanced movement speed as well as the silence coming in from him whenever and ever when he tries to go for the decisive strike. It's more than enough to just push Jax away, because Jax wouldn't even have any ways to deal with it. Probably the only thing that he can do is just kind of try to go for the counter. But other than that,
that really lowers your... Seem to be such a team that is defiant. They will not just bow down to the face of adversary here. But Alliance just shows to be such a competent team that they can do everything in any form of pressure that they're put on.
And here we go. It does seem like it's not much of a 1v1 after all, maybe not yet. Alliance's Graves has decided to go into their own jungle instead of going to their opponent's jungle. And Impunity, I think that they kind of expected Alliance to go for some of the vertical jungling, and thus the Alistar as well as the Corki went in to kind of be there for Jarvan in the very event that something goes wrong. But one thing that we did not expect as well, or at least for me, maybe you did, is that fact that Orianna is the one that goes on to the Dragon lane while we've got the Azrael over to the middle lane.
Yeah, I kind of expected this for Alliance because we saw that again and again. Even I think the Ziggs would have been the better option because he can just clear at a safer distance. Orianna does tend to take a bit more of a beating, and he has to expend more of his mana to do so. But in any case, it still works out in the end here for Alliance. As you can see, they're really quick with how they rotate, and this Janna being able to put a shield as well as provide additional damage to clear out these singular camps. It really helps out Shinsekai's jungling there. Quarterboy wants to dip his toes in, but can't really work to do so. Nice little burst there. Satchel from Swirled to keep Rich a little bit honest. And the trades are working in the favor of actually nobody, as Impunity is just kind of stabilizing everything, even if it seems like Alliance are doing so much more.
They really need to do a lot more at this point of time for Impunity. The 1v1 matchup up in the top lane, for some reason, does seem like Garen is kind of losing, but in the meantime, take a look at the bottom lane with the Dimension Standard coming in from this job and immediately pushes himself right into the face of Orianna, and there's just not much that he could do. But alas, the rest of the members coming from Alliance just going to be coming right in, cutting between of all of them with Shinsekai onto the Graves, gets himself two, and easily pushes Wrath away from in between of the proxy. So pretty good job coming from Alliance. They did manage to punish Impunity with they did manage to punish Impunity for that kind of greedy, in some sense, first tier turret dive kind of play.
They do get that really big pick off. Impunity overchecking, overstaying their boundaries. Get some punish, drop onto them. Who got the kill for Impunity here? Oh, it was the Corki for Scarlet. For Scarlet. So that's actually a really good thing, because if Scarlet Pella can get his Trinity Force faster than the Ezreal can Mana Moon a Trinity Force, that works in the favor of Impunity, because a Corki that has a Sheen proc is incredibly powerful, allowing Impunity to start working on objectives, even turrets, significantly quickly. But Alliance, knowing this, knowing that Scarlet Pella is in a really precarious situation, or in a really good situation, they just back away from it and allow him to get this side lane, because they don't really want to get dope upon once again. Cryo, not even level 5, will not have a shockwave. Impunity is just adamant at getting this shutdown here, but they gotta be quick, because here comes the rest of the members. They can actually line up for Cryo here if they're not careful. They charge right in with Rich, perfect timing on that tornado, and Shinsekai rests as well to follow up, and Impunity, they had everything, but then it just got plucked away from their hands once again by Alliance.
Alliance literally know what Impunity is kind of doing, and the same could be said for Impunity, except for the fact that their timing is just a little bit much worse than Alliance, because they're trying to get themselves out of the dangers of the opponent's first tier turret, and even from the 50 line that's drawn diagonally from the map. Impunity is unable to do that, as we've got Janna jumps right in a pretty good time, and I believe that is mostly that Howling Guild that has enabled Alliance with that initiation. But for now, Let's just take a look at the tricks for now. We do have Wild Ball that put down the flag, ready to jump right into the Dimension Standard and ready to get himself that smite down, and Red Team is the one that takes it away. Alliance easily takes the Cloud Dragon, and unfortunately for the side of Jump Form, is not able to steal that away.
Sadly enough, Impunity are starting to at least show some signs of fatigue already. Those were not plays that usually is done by Impunity. And they're overstepping their boundaries a bit too much here. I know that they want to challenge Alliance as quickly as much as they can, but again, when you're up into this point, it seems very, very destructive for them. Raven not put into the range of that turret, so Swirl's not gonna get any bounty from his satchel play there, and Swirl's about to get down. If there's an Arcane Shift into Mystic Shot, that should be a quick knockout. As you can see, Wild Boar and Wrath have to pick up some slack into the mid lane as Swirl has to back away for that break point. Scarlet Petal has been relegated to the other lane here just to keep him happy and fed. But positioning for Alliance, they're starting to mount themselves up onto this Baron lane, and that's not really good with Scarlet Petal, who's still struggling to get the items that he needs.
We're looking at not that big of a goal lead from Alliance. I thought that maybe there would be more goal lead due to the fact of how Impunity is, you know, kind of positioning themselves, and the fact that Alliance have got 3 kills ahead of Impunity. We should be looking at something big happening soon, as the Rift Herald should be coming up in 10 seconds, and thus most of the regrouping will be happening up north, while Alliance at the bottom lane with CWJ hammering one heck of a Court of War to a critical amount of health.
Has to back away first. Rift Herald is getting started, and this is Alliance negging Impunity to just go in and start fighting them. Shinsekai, he's not really fearful for his life. He does have that Guardian Angel, which gives him a lot more options to just keep going in, and look at that. It's not going to be the Penta Boom, it's just going to be the one boom, but still a boom nonetheless for Raven. That stops Alliance from starting this Rift Herald, and maybe Impunity didn't want to get everything started. Court of War, he flashed right over and wanted to get slapped down on Raven, but quick movements from Rich, quick reaction time from Raven opens up, allows him to at least back up into the base, but this gives Impunity some time to work for this Rift Herald with not much threat from that ADC.
And this one of time, Alliance really wants to contest this, while CWJ is just working his butt off at the bottom lane, trying to bring down the second tier defense turret. Will that be possible though? He would really want to go for that trade, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen. We do have the Rift Herald that's being brought down by Impunity, unfortunately for Alliance, and thus, Impunity should be having a pretty easier time to deal with for the next few minutes, especially trying to secure the Mountain Drake. You know, just kind of put an immediate prioritization onto middle lane as the Rift Herald just kind of marches in.
It's gonna work as well, because they do need that Rift Herald to, if they win a team fight, they can use it to break 1 or even 2 turrets if they're lucky, and that will definitely swing Impunity's favor to the upside. Any case, as that dragon I think is about to spawn, everybody except for the solo laners are going to be situated here, are going to plant their feet, their shoes, however you want to call it. Lions should have a slight better map vision of this jungle, as they do put more emphasis on that one. CWJ in a 1 versus 1, and Court of War is butting heads once again. It seems like he is winning ever so slowly, but the chip damage, that extra third strike from the Jax, is proving pretty fatal for Court of War. He's got to respect it. Now the dragon is up, and they forced a bit of utility and flashes and safety from Impunity. There should be a uncontested dragon.
Without a doubt, it should be uncontested after all. Impunity would definitely need to take some time before they are able to regroup, and especially when it comes to the amount of map control that Alliance have. Impunity is pretty much forced to have their back against the wall, and especially the amount of pressure that CWJ is putting onto the board. Wild Ball jumps right into the Dimension Standard, and the Cataclysm just going to be pumped right onto Ridge, but unfortunately CWJ takes a leap of faith right inside of the Cataclysm, only for him to face against 3 of the members, and here comes the True Shot Barrage, almost getting the kill down on the Wild Ball as well as Wrath. But unfortunately, not enough damage they don't have that burst potential coming in because Janna is just that kind of support, but for CWJ, he tried his very best. They almost did manage to come up on top of all of that.
They find Quarterval, but he has his decisive strike and Deadman's Plate to get out of harm's way. And did you see that? There's like 3 people in a 3 versus 2, but they still couldn't get the kill on Jax. Granted, that was a lot as well from the peel and the shield from Rich as the Janna, but I think just Jax is CWJ up to the point where he can actually tank non-DPS players. Even with the Blade of the Ruined King and components of the Trinity Force, it's still well enough that there's so much tankiness to him, especially when he activates that ult phase.
Down the bottom lane, God of War trying to do his very best. The decisive strike is pretty much what he really needed to kind of shut down CWJ. But unfortunately, at this point of time, it's just a little bit too much for him to handle all alone. We'll see exactly how that is going to work. And of course, the Inferno Bomb from Swirled is more than enough to clear out the way from the middle lane once again. Something that Alliance may find a little bit difficult to kind of break through, because all of that nuke is just too much for Alliance to handle, and the only best way that they can try to bring down objectives is really to handle allow CWJ handle it all for himself. The split pushes is the only way that they can avoid all of that Inferno Bomb from Ziggs.
Yeah, and even then, Impunity, they still have to respect that CWJ is such a credible threat. Quarterval cannot match up anymore, and CWJ has like a HP, level, everything advantage, and oh no. If he gets hit by this red buff, I think he's dead.
He's dead. He's 100% dead.
Yeah, he still survives as well. Look at that. Then he dips right back in, tries to take out the turret, but this Jarvan tries to deal with CWJ. That Rift Herald is gonna get null and void because he can't reach to the turret of Alliance to even make anything happen. And here's the fight.
And there's really nothing much that Impunity could do. The only thing that they can do is just kind of put down a Rift Herald, buy a little bit more time to allow God of War to come back online because of the fact that he is on the respawn timer, because he tried to overextend a little bit and didn't quite realize that CWJ has got the Rambo back buff, and thus going down a little bit too easily to Jax. And at this point of time, I believe that the items coming in from Jax is too much for anyone to handle, because he does have the Blade of Ruined King, the Triforce is coming up, and I think that the Sarath Gage is going to be the next one in line for this Jax, while the Garen is 2,000 gold behind of this Jax, and there's nothing much that we can say about this Corki. Being completely taken down by Raven, they had a massive amount of map control, and Impunity, they're just pretty much down already. 10,000 gold behind, and Alliance have got a steady lead for this game.
CWJ is up to his old shenanigans, split pushing by himself, and oh no, up until this point, he's not even afraid. He's just gonna dive right in, and Quarterval, can he even get the kill? Oh, he actually might be able to. Beautifully done from Quarterval. CWJ biting off more than he can chew. A bit too over-aggressive there, a bit too over-eager, but in the end, Quarterval is happy with that one. Big team fight coming in right now. There's a TP as well from Quarterval, dealing into the damage, going into the fights, and Impunity might have just turned this tide around. Raven gobbling up these landmines, has to back away. Gotta be careful because the damage is gonna be too real. And with one fell swoop, with one slight mistake, Impunity, I mean, they're not back just yet, but this is making me hopeful for them.
Yeah, I mean, all they gotta do is just try to push Alliance away, or maybe even just single out a single member. And by no means is that gonna be impossible at this point of time. The only thing that's kind of stopping them to do that is that Alliance is pretty darn sticky. They are pretty much a pack of sardines. They're not allowing either one of their members be alone unless it's Jax, unless it's Jax, because Jax is kind of meant to be alone. 1v1 potential is pretty darn strong, and I think that Impunity may be able to just take advantage of that. They might want to try jumping onto Jax and try to bring him down, which is probably something they're looking out for right now, except for the fact that the timing is pretty darn bad because the Baron is available for the picking. Alliance regrouped right down south of the Baron, and Impunity came right into contact against a Lion, and thus, with 2 men down, Alliance would have an easy picking onto the Baron while exerting pressure onto the middle lane as well.
What the damn hell? He's soloing the Baron by himself, and CWJ is just wailing at it, surviving. Quart d'Ivoire, he spots out the Baron here. He's gonna try to Macho Man Randy Savage this one by himself, but it seems like he's gonna get, well, dove upon. He's gonna get crashed upon by CWJ and teammate, and even as he tries to go for the big sword swing, it's not gonna work out in the end. Baron will be taken by Alliance, a hefty lead of about 13,000 in their pockets, and they are looking quite menacing, quite decisive in finishing off this series already, as Alliance just take round after round. They take, how do you say this, objective after objective, and they take fight after fight.
The 50 line is being pretty much drawn by Alliance, and not to forget, they do have a massive amount of drakes for themselves. They do have the Cloud, Mountain, and Ocean Drake for themselves, and the next Drake coming up is going to be the Elder Inferno Drake. But I don't think that Alliance is even going to be waiting for that point of time to push in, because they already have the Baron buff, so it should be pretty darn easy for them to just jump right in, such as the fact that Shinsekai just jumps right in, right onto the face of the Scarlet Petal. There's really nothing much that this Corki could do. He did manage to tank the turret for a pretty darn long time. Raph jumps right in. The stasis just pretty much wraps around this Graves, but unfortunately the GA is now going to be popped. He's going to be back into the game with 50% HP or even more. Impunity is going to be left with 2 members, and here we go. The True Shot Barrage is not enough to bring Quart d'Ivoire down, and the massive amount of creep is going to bring the Nexus down, and Alliance takes the game by a lot, because that is a 3-0 win coming in from Alliance, and they are your champions for the Southeast Asia Icon Series Singapore pre-season.
Incredible performance for Alliance there. There was a bit of shakiness at the start, game 1, game 2, but in that third one, there wasn't really much that Impunity can do. They did a lot of good things, but